Hi friends, I'm Yamini and I welcome you back to my channel, The Saffron Box. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about Rahu and Ketu, the transit of Rahu and Ketu in the month of April 2022. So on the 12th of April, Rahu moves out of the sign of Taurus, moves into Aries, and Ketu moves out of Scorpio into the sign of Libra. So we'll understand what this particular transit brings for us, right? So Rahu and Ketu are malefic planets. They are shadowy planets, actually intersection points, but they bring in a lot of curiosity. We are always curious to understand what Rahu does to us, what is Ketu doing to us, right? So I'll go about explaining the effects in general, and thereafter I'll talk about the sign-wise impact of this particular transit on all the 12 signs. So check your ascendant. I'll begin with Aries. I'll move on till Pisces. As usual, you'll find the timestamps in the comment section as well as in the description box. Right. So if we look at the transit of Rahu and Ketu, see, Rahu and Ketu, first of all, are retrograde planets. They are always moving backwards. So when Rahu moves into the sign of Aries, Ketu moves into the sign of Libra. So they are always 180 degrees apart from each other. Now, these are very basic things we all know about. Rahu, with its entry into the sign of Aries, brings forth the qualities of Aries. So Rahu is anyways air, Rahu is a lot of air, it's illusion, it's Maya. And when Rahu moves into Aries, Aries is a fiery sign. It's ruled by Mars. Sun exalts over here. So Aries is a very important sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac also. So it signifies new beginnings, initiative, leadership, new things to do, focus on the self. As per the national horoscope, Aries is the first sign. So it falls in this first house of the national horoscope also. So here with the entry of Rahu, there is a lot of focus which will come on the self. What do I want? What do I stand for? What is my belief? What should I focus on? How do I look? So Rahu, wherever it goes, it amplifies things. It, gives that bubbling, exploding energy to that particular house or that sign as such. So all these things will come into the picture. One will learn to focus on themselves. So in general, irrespective of the sign which you have, irrespective of anything in your chart, the general focus will be on the self, will be to start something new, will be to do something new. So all these Aries-like qualities are going to get highlighted. Rahu will put a spotlight there. And the same goes with Ketu as well. Ketu, whenever it transits, now in this case Ketu is going to come to the sign of Libra. So Ketu stands for detachment. Ketu stands for cutting off or some kind of a dissatisfaction. Ketu is actually a planet of moksha or a planet of cutting off, moving on as such. But that is only part of the story. Actually, Ketu is a karmic graha. So is Rahu though. Ketu, wherever it transits, it tells us to finish a particular chapter, finish something off. So Ketu is actually helping us finish our karma, finish our karmic baggage over there and move on to something new. That is why we feel that Ketu is cutting us off from something. Actually, Ketu is helping us pay off our karmic debt, pay off our karmic baggage. So Ketu, when it moves into the sign of Libra, it actually helps us look at the relationships, because Libra is a sign of relationships, Libra is a sign of partnerships, business, your partner, your life partner. So whatever Libra signifies as such, Ketu tells us to finish off something over there. Or in some cases, it brings in some dissatisfaction there. So while you're focusing on yourself, with Rahu being in Aries, there might be chances that you're dissatisfied with others. Now you feel that maybe others are not doing what they had to. Or maybe now you feel that you should focus on yourself and let others be. So you let go. So what I mean to say here is, there could be chances that you let go of some relationships, or you change the way you view a relationship. So some kind of a balance is over, some kind of letting go is going to happen, and something new will begin. So Ketu could give that energy. Ketu's energy is not so easy to understand though. Right? So Rahu and Ketu being here in the Aries and Libra signs, Rahu and Ketu axis over here actually calls us to stand up and view ourselves vis-a-vis others, vis-a-vis the relationships which we have. So this particular axis will gain a lot of importance. It brings in a lot of impact into our lives. Now here, how does one balance this particular energy? And what is it that you're supposed to do? What is it that you could actually do to, bring the best out of your energy, of this particular energy, is what I'm going to be talking about. So I'll begin with the sign of Aries. See, Aries, Rahu is going to come into your first house, into your ascendant. So here, the focus is on yourself. The focus is on what you want, how you look, how you present yourself. So a lot of you would actually be working on themselves. For some, it will be the way you present yourself to others, the way you look. Or for some, it will be the way you view yourself, the way you feel about yourself. So Rahu, being an Aries planet coming into this fiery sign, will actually give you a boost with respect to your self-confidence, your self-image, self-respect. So here you could feel a boost of confidence, a shot. It's like a booster dose of confidence, of courage which you feel. So you're able to take in more things, you're able to initiate more things, take up the role of a leader. But a word of caution, remember that in your over-enthusiasm, in your overconfidence, you should not be hurting others, or you should not be stepping on others' boundaries. Because right across Rahu is Ketu in the sign of Libra. And the 7th house here has Libra, which talks about your relationships, your spouse, your marriage, your partnership, your business. So while you're focusing too much on yourself, there could be chances that the relationship angles get hurt. You're not able to give enough attention to your marriage, to your spouse. You're not able to do justice to your partner in business. So you have to tread this path very, very carefully. See how you're going to manage this particular energy, because Rahu and Ketu are coming in the Kendra houses also, the 1st and the 7th. And here, balancing this particular energy is going to be a challenge for the next 1.5 years. You would also get a lot of opportunity to focus on your creative ideas, focus on your children. Some of you would also look at planning children, or increasing the size of your family. Some of you would also look at educational avenues. So how do you want to upgrade yourself? How are you going to upgrade your skills? Is what you're going to be looking at as well. And this is a great time to do it. So you pay attention to your education, you pay attention to your creative matters, you see how you're dealing with your children. There could also be changes with respect to your relationship with your father, or with your gurus, with your elders as well. Right? So this energy is a little tricky to handle, I would say. You need to balance how you're doing things yourself and how you're keeping others in the picture. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you're keeping others in the picture as well. You're keeping your partner in the picture. You're giving enough attention to your partners. So it could be your life partner or your business partner, whosoever is actually equally involved in your life. You have to pay attention over there. Then I move on to the next sign of Taurus. So for Taurus, you see Rahu is going to be entering your 12th house, moving out of your first house. And Ketu comes to your 6th house. So here, the focus will be on the 12th house matters. Rahu, remember, enters the moksha trine. So you do things which satisfy you at a soul level. You want to satisfy your soul. You want to, spend time alone. Rahu in the 12th means places of, focus on places of going away, staying away, far from home. So in some cases, it could be physical places, as in you actually physically move out of your homeland, physically move out of your residence to go out somewhere, make foreign connections, move away from home. But in some cases, it could be spending time alone in some faraway places, in some retreat, trying to understand, trying to gather your thoughts as well. Rahu in the 12th house also could amplify your expenditure, the way you expend your energy. So when I talk about expenditure, it is not only money, it is about your time, it is about your effort, your thoughts. Now for some, there could also be chances that you fritter away your energies. So here, while Rahu is in the 12th, you need to be careful as to how you're spending your energy. Either you're spending your energy in stepping back, thinking through, planning, taking time off, or pursuing educational pursuits, looking at, moving outside, change of residence, etc. Or you're just frittering away your energies in just thinking and not doing anything practically. So there could be chances that your, time and energy go waste as well. So you have to be careful over there. For some of you, there could be chances that you overindulge in certain things. So overindulgence has to be avoided. For some, also there could be chances that your sleep pattern gets disturbed because there's too much of energy which you're expending mentally. Now, while Ketu is here in the 6th house, there are high chances that there are changes at your workplace, changes in the way you're doing your job. So either you change your, team, you change your workplace, your daily routine has to get impacted over here in some way or the other. All the people whom you're dealing with on a daily basis get changed. So a change of staff, or you move out, you do some major changes regarding your workplace. So here, one thing which you also have to be careful about is your health. Take care of your health, take care of the food intake on a daily basis, take care of your daily routine, stay away from any kind of seasonal problems, So your food intake has to be proper so that you avoid any kind of a health disorder because of seasonal changes, weather changes, that you have to be careful about. Then I move on to the next sign of Gemini. So for Gemini, you see Rahu moves into the 11th house, comes to the Karma trine, 11th house of wish fulfillment, Ichha Purti. Very good place for Rahu to be. All planets in the 11th are considered good, and Rahu especially being here gives a boost to the wish fulfillment as such. And Ketu comes to the 5th house. So here Rahu actually amplifies your gains, your income, your social circle. So there could be changes with respect to your social circle. You meet new people, your social circle gets expanded. you actually gain a lot of popularity in your circle. So that kind of energy is getting generated with Rahu's entry into the 11th house. And new connections get formed. So it could be a professional circle which actually helps you out gradually. Remember, after the transit of Rahu into Aries, Rahu is going to come to Pisces. So these professional circles, these professional connections could actually convert into workplace connections after a year and a half or two maybe. So those kind of long-term connections get formed. Your relationship with your sibling, elder sibling, could get impacted. Now, depending on what your promise of your chart is, it could be a positive impact, it could be a negative impact, but there has to be something to do with the relationship which you have with your elder sibling. Then Ketu comes into the 5th house. With this, there could be some challenges with respect to your children, with respect to how you're managing your children as such. For some of you, there could be creativity issues. You want to express yourself very creatively, but you aren't able to as such. So there could be chances that you struggle a little with your creative projects, or you do something totally new, totally out of the box when it comes to your creative thinking. So here, Ketu could also take away a lot of your attention towards spiritual pursuits, towards bhakti, towards upasana, towards praying to your Isht. Your spiritual energy can get elevated with the presence of Ketu over here. So you could start doing a new ritual, you could start praying if you haven't been doing so till now, or you could change the way you pray. So these kind of things can actually happen with Ketu's presence in the 5th house. But one thing which you have to be careful over here is there could also be a chance that any kind of romantic affair or any romantic liaison could also be impacted. So you could move on from a relationship which is not serving you well, move on to something else, move on to something new, right? So here with this axis of Rahu and Ketu in the 11th and the 5th house, there could be a lot of focus on relationships, on connections, on meeting new people and letting go of old connections as well. Make sure that with your pursuit of your goals or being over ambitious, you do not trust people blindly. That is something which I would definitely like to bring your attention to. Then I move on to the next sign of Cancer. So for Cancer, you see Rahu comes into your 10th house and Ketu comes to your 4th. A good placement, a very interesting placement, I would say, because Rahu comes in the house of your Yoga Karak planet as well. For Cancer ascendant, Mars is a Yoga Karak and Rahu comes here. So if in your birth chart, Mars is well placed, this placement actually works well for you. A lot of focus on work issues, a lot of focus on your popularity, on your status. So for some, it could be an upgradation of status, elevation in status. You rise higher, you take a jump at workplace, in your social status as such. You get more name and fame regarding the work which you do. You get more ambitious also about your work. So a lot of, newness with regard to work comes over here. But make sure that whatever you're doing with a lot of deliberation, with a lot of care. So it's a good transit, I would say, but you need to see how you're managing your workplace and your home environment. Because with Ketu being in the 4th house, there could be dissatisfaction as regards to your home environment. Your domestic comforts could get hit. You could not maybe, have enough chances to spend time at home. You're so busy that you're not able to spend time at home. You're not able to give attention to your home matters. So there could be a chance of overindulgence or spending too much time at work or outside and not being able to connect back home. So you need to maintain that balance over here between home and work, a very, very delicate balance these days. And that is your focus area for the next 1.5 years as regards the Rahu and Ketu transit. Then in some cases, your mother's health could get impacted over here. So you need to be careful with regard to your mother's health. There could be a change of residence also indicated for a few. So if your basic dasha is also indicating some change, there could be a change of residence. With Ketu being here, there could be a change of a place. You could be shifting houses, you could be shifting cities, but it could be because of a professional reason. So work demands that you shift, work demands that you move out of your current place of residence, right? So the Artha trine is getting impacted with the presence of Rahu over here. So a lot of ambition, a lot of materialistic goals is what you form and you strive to achieve during this particular transit. Then I move on to the next ascendant of Leo. So for Leo, you see the transit of Rahu is happening in the 9th house and Ketu moves to the 3rd house. So over here, a lot of your 9th house matters get amplified. Your relationship with your father, your relationship with your elders, with your teachers. So, but with the presence of Rahu over here, there could be ideological differences with your father. You may have disagreements with your father. See, Rahu is not a very, Rahu is not friendly with the planet Sun. Sun is signifying father. And Rahu comes into the 9th house over here. So there could be clashes, there could be ego clashes, ideological clashes with your father. In some cases, you need to pay attention to your father's health. So it depends on what age and stage are you, right? So you could also focus a lot on your future plans, on the direction of your life. How do you want to upgrade yourself to meet your goals? How do you want to take your life? For some, it will be a change in philosophy. So all these years could have brought up some experiences which are bringing about a change in you. You change about, you change the way you're thinking about life, thinking about certain things, important points in life. So a change in philosophy. Some of you could also look at learning some new scriptures, reading new scriptures, reading about a new religion, reading about something offbeat. So you could take up a new cult, follow something new totally. So till now, say if you had, for example, no interest in Buddhism or anything like that, it could be Jainism, Buddhism, Hinduism, any new thing which is there for you, which is totally different from where you were brought up in. You could have interest towards that. You could read up more because of academic interest, learn more. So theological studies, those people who are involved in theological studies, a very good time for them as well. So, this could actually bring up your curiosity about higher education matters, about your life in general. And you could think a lot about these things. You could think creatively about how things are going to impact you and align yourself with your life goals. Now, Ketu also comes to the 3rd. So here, this could pose a challenge with respect to your relationship with your siblings, with your neighbors. So if you're already undergoing a bad patch with your siblings, this could actually be a time where you have to let go of a relationship or maybe come to a closure with respect to a relationship. Then there could also be a lot of focus on the way you communicate. So Ketu over here could actually make communication a challenge sometimes. Now, whichever field of work you are in, if communication is very, very important, you actually need to see how you're going to communicate with others. So change the way you're writing, change the way you're speaking. Some kind of change will be indicated over here. You'll bring about some change in the future as well. So with this, I move on to the next sign of Virgo. So for Virgo, if you see this particular change is happening in the 2nd and 8th axis. Rahu comes into the 8th house and Ketu comes to the 7th house. Ketu comes to the 2nd house, sorry. So here, with Rahu being in the 8th, it could actually trigger in a lot of interest, curiosity towards occult matters, research matters. So you want to understand something which is not there, which is not there on the surface, which is hidden, which is ancient. So those of you who are involved in these kind of professions or who have interest in these kind of things, occult, it could be astrology, it could be, various methods of healing. This could be a time where you actually get a lot of time and energy to spend over here. Those of you who are in deep research or you're connected with banking, connected with insurance, etc., this could be a time when a lot of transformation takes place, or you're able to put in more time and energy over here. You're able to do better over here in these fields, right? 8th house is also the house of chronic disease, long diseases, which go on for years and years. 8th house is the house of in-laws, your spouse's money, others' money. So Rahu being here could actually bring up matters of your in-laws. With Ketu also being in the 2nd house, which is again the house related to family, there could be matters related to your in-laws' family which come up to the surface. Inheritance matters come up to the surface. So the focus all in all will be a lot of money issues, in-laws issues. In case you are not dealing with any in-laws matters, it could be others' money which you deal with. So a lot of focus, a lot of attention will go towards these matters. Changes also. Money decisions will have to be made. Inheritance matters could come up. Family money could also bring up chances of dispute. So within the family, you have some pending issues, you have some pending financial decisions to be taken, and they bring in dispute. Why? Because you are not able to communicate properly within the family. So with Ketu being in the 2nd house, you need to be extra careful with your communication within the family, especially when it comes to money. Because some of you would feel the dissatisfaction of not being able to get compensated properly, or you feel that you're not getting your worth, whatever is your share, you're not getting it. This could bring in some kind of a dissent, some kind of a problem internally within the family. So money matters could actually pose in problems over here. So these are the issues which you'll have to deal with while this transit is happening, and deal with a lot of caution, right? Then I move on to the next sign of Libra. So for Libra, you see Ketu is coming into the ascendant and Rahu comes to the 7th house. Again, a very sensitive axis of self and others. So talking about Rahu first, Rahu in the 7th makes you focus a lot on your spouse, on your marriage, on your partnerships, on your business plans as such. So the way you're dealing with others is going to be of lot of importance. Rahu will bring in that energy constantly. But Ketu in the ascendant will make you focus on yourself or transform yourself. So whatever were your priorities till now, in the recent past, you may like to change those priorities. You may like to change the way you are thinking about things. So change regarding yourself. So this is again a very sensitive axis because it is dealing with you and other people, you and your marriage especially. So one has to be very careful with regard to their marriage, with regard to their partnerships, because this axis will pose challenges here. So see how you're communicating with your partner. See how you're dealing with your life partner as such. Your life partner's health might require attention with Rahu being in the 7th. So there could be assistance required by the life partner, your marriage partner. So a lot of your time and attention will go there. A lot of your time and attention will go towards your spouse. Those of you who are looking at getting married, before getting married, do check and recheck and deliberate over your decision. So if you're thinking 10 times, I would say that you think 20 times before getting married, checking the background, make sure that you know the person very well. So my point is not to scare you, but my point is actually to make you understand that Rahu over here could create some kind of an illusion, could create a false front when it comes to relationships. So you need to dig deeper and see what you're actually getting into when it comes to new relationships as such. So do not take impulsive decisions when it comes to relationships. Do not take impulsive on the spot decisions when it comes to business decisions as well, business deals as well. So understand properly, investigate properly whenever it comes to new partnerships, etc. So you have to be careful there. Be careful with the way you're doing your business as well. And with Ketu in the ascendant, you could actually come across some instances where you deal with health issues. Some of you could actually deal with viral infections or bites, dog bite, etc., or sudden cuts, sudden injuries. That is again something which you have to be careful about. So when you're dealing with dogs, when you're dealing with pets, etc., while playing generally with them also, you need to be careful because you could come across some cuts, bites, etc. Yeah. Then I move on to the next sign of Scorpio. So for Scorpio, you see this particular transit is happening in the 12th and the 6th axis. So Rahu comes to your 6th house and Ketu goes to your 12th house. With Rahu's entry over here, you get a lot of impetus towards growth, towards your future plans. Rahu is coming to a Upchaya Bhava. So 6th house is the house of growth. And Rahu being a malefic over here pushes you towards growth, pushes you towards achieving your materialistic desires. So this is a time to put in a lot of hard work towards whatever you want to achieve. You'll get the physical zeal, the energy, the mental energy and the physical energy to actually achieve your goals. So Rahu will help you out there. Good for earning money, good for accumulating money, good for dealing with competition or your opposition as such. So if you are entangled in some kind of a legal case, this is a good time to actually take up matters and deal with some kind of a closure. You should also look at any kind of diseases, and if you are undergoing any kind of a problem, any kind of a health issue, any disease, this could be a time where you actually pay more attention to your health. Look at better help, look at a better diagnosis, because Rahu over here could also lead to some confusing diagnosis. So look at a second diagnosis, look at a second or a third opinion also before you deal with your health issues. So that is again something which you be careful about. Be careful regarding your stomach infections or any problem related to your dental things, issues related to your teeth. But again, with Ketu being in the 12th house, there could be chances where you feel a little secluded, feel a little confined sometimes. So This energy is a little tough to deal with. While it's good for materialistic success and working towards your goals, some of you, depending on your age and stage, you could feel a little withdrawn or feel a little loneliness sometimes. So, important to divert your energies towards doing things selflessly. 12th house, where you actually get to give yourself selflessly. So while you're focusing on your materialistic goals, look at what you can do for others. Look at what you can do in terms of donations or in terms of selfless work, nishkam seva, as we say. Then we move on to the next sign of Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this transit of Rahu and Ketu happens in the 11th and the 5th house. So the 5th house has Rahu making its entry, and the 11th house has Ketu coming into the sign of Libra. So for the Sagittarius ascendant, again, Rahu being in the 5th could actually make you focus a lot on your creativity, on new ideas, new projects. You could feel that luck is also favoring you. Now again, that depends on the placement of Mars. So a stroke of luck helps you out. Suddenly you come across some good idea or a good venture which could actually help you gain in future. This will be also a good time for those who are planning progeny. You could get required medical assistance, the right assistance to help you achieve what you want. Romantic affairs, for some it could be a time where you actually get romantically inclined towards people, romantically inclined towards somebody in particular. So romantic affairs come to the foray. You spend a lot of your time in leisure, in entertainment also. So depends on what age and stage you are, all these possibilities could play out. But with Ketu in the 11th house, there could also be chances that you make changes in your connections, make changes in the connections which you have. So it could mean that you let go of some old connections and you forge some new connections also. So there are a lot of changes in the 11th house, in the 11th house of your professional circles, your social circles. So new people come, some connections get left out, some new connections get formed. So these kind of changes are indicated also with Ketu being in the 11th. One word of caution here, while your creative energy is going to be very high, you're able to, you'll be able to think well, you'll be able to think out of the box unconventionally. Stay away from speculation. So whatever you're thinking, do not, when it comes to investing anything on it, when it comes to investing money on it, or when it comes to any kind of a scheme where you feel that you've thought enough and now you're able to, go ahead with the idea, you can put in money and put that idea into reality. Take a step back, deliberate, and then do it. So stay away from any kind of a speculative idea or anything which you have not thought over well. So plan things ahead and then take a decision and then move on, especially when it comes to spending money. This also holds true for any kind of a speculation. So any kind of a, gambling or speculation kind of tendency, if you feel like, you have to keep a check on that as well. Then I move on to the next sign of Capricorn. So for Capricorn, this transit of Rahu comes in your 4th house and Ketu comes to your 10th house. Difficult energy to manage. Again, the 4th and 10th axis comes into the picture, gets highlighted. So with Rahu's entry into the 4th, a lot of your focus goes on home matters. How you're going to keep your house, how you're going to redo your house, decorate your house. Some of you are going to look at acquiring new assets, acquiring a new piece of land, property, or a new vehicle also. And At the same point in time, a lot of focus will also be there at your work. So this is a tough axis to deal with, as I mentioned. So workplace would also call for your attention, but there could be chances where you feel a little dissatisfaction at work, which could trigger in some changes. You could look at a change of profile at work. In some cases there'll be a change of the workplace, or your boss could change. So these kind of changes are indicated. There could also be some misunderstandings at workplace as well as at home. So within your family, within your close family whom you're living with every day, there could be misunderstandings, or there could be something which disturbs the harmony as such. So this is again an axis which you'll have to deal with a lot of patience and a lot of care. Also be very, very careful while driving, while being on the road. Do not drive rash. Be careful with regards to your property matters and with regards to your vehicles also. So if it depends, if you have a good dasha, if you're making any land deal or any property deal, you could land up a very, very good deal. But if your dasha is not very supportive, I suggest you let some time pass. Do enough deliberation, do enough homework before you take any call on property, on your assets as such. Then I move on to the next sign of Aquarius. So for Aquarius, the 3rd and 9th axis gets activated. Rahu comes into your 3rd house and Ketu goes into your 9th house. So here your communication gets impacted. For some of you, your communication could actually affect people around you very, very well. So you have a charismatic effect on the people around you. Whomsoever you communicate with, you're able to convince the other person. You're able to put in effect, put some good influence on the other person. So Rahu over here can do that to your communication. You're able to, if you're in the media or if you're in the entertainment industry, where you're dealing with a lot of people, this could actually be a good thing to happen to you. But at the same point in time, this energy could also bring in some issues regard to travel, regard to siblings, etc. Overall, the presence of Rahu in the 3rd house could actually give you a lot of initiative, could give you a lot of strength to take on more responsibility. But at the same point in time, misunderstanding with siblings or miscalculated risks could also happen. Ketu being in the 9th again could draw your attention towards your father, towards your father's health. That is something which is very, very important, has to be seen if it qualifies for you. And also some decisions with regard to your education would also come up. So for some of you, you could actually look at higher education, moving out, carrying on your higher education, or maybe changing your stream suddenly, doing something else totally which you had not planned for as such. So these kind of things could play out with this 3rd and 9th axis. You could also spend a lot of time in understanding higher philosophy, higher wisdom. Ketu in the 9th actually does that. You're able to understand the matters of dharma, the matters of philosophy very well. So you're able to understand what your religion says, what your dharma says, what kind of a spiritual life do you want to indulge in, you do want to spend time in. So these kind of things come into the foray. Ketu here helps you in defining what you are as such spiritually. So your spiritual pursuits get a boost. But materially, there could be confusion over here. There could be confusion, or rather, issues with regard to your father's relationship with you as well. Then I move on to the last sign of Pisces as such. So Pisces over here, see, for Pisces, the axis of 2nd and 8th houses gets impacted. Rahu comes into your 2nd house and Ketu goes to your 8th house. Rahu in your 2nd house impacts your speech, impacts your family money, your accumulated wealth, your value system. While Ketu in the 8th affects your in-laws, your inheritance, any kind of a chronic disease which you have. So here with this axis, the first and foremost thing which you have to do is, a lot of you would be focusing a lot on your wealth, on maybe consolidating your wealth, consolidating your assets as such. But you need to maintain cordiality between your family members. See how your speech is, how you're communicating within the family. Are you telling a lie by any chance, or are you misinterpreting facts? Are you able to understand what is happening within your family? So this is a time, with Rahu's transit in the 2nd house, you could actually misjudge facts, or rather not understand facts correctly and then relate on to somebody else. So you have to take care of your communication. That is very, very important for you. Also be very careful with regard to your food intake, food habits. With Rahu in the 2nd, you could be inclined towards eating food which is not very, very healthy for you. So your food habits have to be kept under check. Otherwise, the focus will be a lot on money accumulation, asset accumulation, focus on family money as such. But with Ketu's presence in the 8th, this could also actually, give you, try to put you in tricky situations with regard to money, with your in-laws' money. So there could be tricky situations with regard to your in-laws' money, etc. Or your in-laws, the relationship which you have with your in-laws get impacted. So that is again something which you have to keep in mind. Ketu in the 8th also makes you prone to injuries, sudden cuts, burns, sudden injuries, which again you have to be careful about. Right? So that was my analysis of the Rahu Ketu axis being changed, the Rahu's presence in the sign of Aries and Ketu's presence in the sign of Libra. Do let me know how your experience is as we go by further into this transit. I'll be looking forward to it. So till then, goodbye till we meet in the next video. Bye-bye.